Hello, everyone, and welcome to In-House Counsel Insights, where we bring you in-house counsel attorneys from different industries, different practice areas to discuss their background, tips, and experiences. Here today, I have Liz Referente. She is Senior Legal Counsel at BW Energy. Thanks for joining us, Liz.
Thank you so much, Chris. I'm happy to be here.
Good to have you. So first of all, what is BW Energy, if you would just tell everyone that?
Sure. BW Energy spun off from BW Offshore and is a Norwegian publicly traded entity on the Norwegian Stock Exchange that has offshore production in offshore Africa, as well as Brazil, and looking to expand and develop, and has been publicly traded since 2020, spun off in 2016. I've been here for only about 6 weeks, so.
Okay. And how long have you been an in-house attorney?
I've been practicing since '99, so solid 22 years in there. So.
So you've never been outside counsel before?
No, I started off in-house as an internet attorney based on prior experience working at a software company for a very large bank based in Houston. And then from there, went into the oil and gas industry, and I've been in oil and gas ever since.
Okay. How does, that's a little unusual to go straight from law school to be an in-house attorney. How does one go about doing that? How did you do it?
So it's interesting. It's all about leveraging your prior experience. And the other thing that I learned over time is that in-house positions are about chemistry and just having the right fit. And you learn that too during the interview process. It's a matter of like-minded folks finding each other through that interviewing process. But really, prior work experience built over time led to each of my jobs. And this is the 7th job I've had in-house, so I've seen a lot of transition.
Okay, wow. Where were you before BW Energy?
Before BW Energy, I was with Baker Hughes for nearly 10 years.
And that's a long time. And so, and this is all public, some things happened over the years during your time there at Baker Hughes. There were 2 potential mergers, right? One potential, one that actually went through, and then there were some changes after that merger. So I think that's really relevant to the viewing audience. We have changing economic conditions and we have mergers and all those things. So can you talk to us some about that? What was it like going through some of those things as an in-house attorney there?
So I will say that even before working at Baker Hughes, I had experienced merger activity from a legal perspective previously in my first job. And in fact, that's the reason why my job ended earlier than I wanted it to.
Okay.
In 2001, I was laid off.
Okay.
At that time, that bank ultimately, through mergers, became part of Chase Bank today.
Okay.
But the entire legal department was laid off at that time. And so you learn to manage the uncertainty that comes with that. And when we were at Baker Hughes, when we were in the merger with Halliburton, we went through that due diligence process, and I think you recognize that you can only control the matters within your control. It sounds trite, but it's really something you kind of have to wrap your mind around and maintain that psychological perspective as you're going through it, and just do the best you can with that. And we saw how that all of the efforts that we had put in for that merger didn't come to fruition. But then immediately on the heels of that, we entered into the transaction with GE, and we had a lot of lessons learned. And so I thought, that actually worked out well. But you do learn to navigate that uncertainty, and it's a great skill.
And is G still involved with Baker Hughes?
Now I can't really speak to it so much
That's
now since
that's
I'm no
fair.
longer with the organization. But
We won't even go there. I apologize.
I know.
So were there a lot of changes over the years being in the legal department, going through those events?
Absolutely. But in fact, there was the merger with GE happened over July 4th, 2017. So before the holiday, we went into we left the office with all Baker Hughes contract forms, and came back after the July 4th holiday with new contract forms to be implemented right away. New contract terms and conditions that were very different from what we were working with before. And just so you know, I support my primary expertise had been supporting supply chain while at Baker Hughes, and that's currently what I'm doing. Um, but what I did see is that um, that kind of change does give you a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of opportunity for growth. And then even after that, the merger in 2017, then later on, fast forward to 2021, 22, we looked at the separation that was occurring, separation
Hmm.
activities. And so all of that really provides a landscape of opportunity for career development and growth and gaining skills. I had so many great initiatives that I was able to take part in, and opportunities for leadership that I would not have had if Baker Hughes had been the same organization that I entered. So I'm really grateful for that, and I would say all of that led to the experience that brought me to BW Energy today.
Great. And it sounds like you love change and you've talked a lot about the benefits. So, what's one of the biggest challenges you've seen over the years being an in house attorney?
Well, one of the big challenges has been I have seen a lot of movement, a lot of attorneys
Mm,
moving from company to company, and when we have loss of knowledge and expertise
mm.
from any organization, that makes it challenging for the attorneys who remain. And it can you can find yourself into a position where you're absorbing more work and more responsibility, and not sure if there's an end in sight, or how we'll attack it for the long term. But I think that if you look at and one of the values at Baker Hughes, and actually is really a personal value for me as well, and a value in the legal department that I've joined, is collaboration. And you learn to try to work together to try to achieve the common goals, and try to manage things a little bit better than you might have if you did not have such a um, large workload ahead of you, perhaps.
Okay. Um, so, as far as the legal market, I was just thinking you pretty new to BW. So, were you able fairly recently to get your finger on the pulse as to what the market's looking like for in house attorneys?
Absolutely. I would say, from what I've seen in the last 6 months, that there seem to be more in house positions than ever before. I think that a lot of enterprises are starting to see that it is very valuable to have in-house legal advice and guidance, and not solely rely on external guidance. It's a good combination to have that balance of both. I think that that perspective. I think.
So with all those positions that you saw, do you have any tips for if you're outside counsel and if you're looking to transition over? Do you have any tips on what those skills, how you might want to refine your resume to target an in-house company?
Yes, I think that the most valuable skill is really being able to provide guidance to the business. So to the extent that you can present that through the types of projects that you've worked on, highlight that in your resume, and in your interview process, I think that that is going to go a long way. Things that you can any project accomplishments you have that can demonstrate how you can add value and increase efficiency, be able to deliver that guidance so that the business feels empowered is fantastic. Because a lot of times there's a perception that legal is some type of bottleneck or hurdle to overcome.
Mm.
Occasionally, you can see that there is sometimes some of that perspective, but I think that it's just misdirected perhaps, and that better communication and collaboration can really uh, work wonders to move that perception.
So would you say communication and collaboration would be the best, some of the best ways that an in-house attorney can add value to a business?
Absolutely. Because that way, I think that that shows legal is a partner in the business and not simply some mysterious black box that where the documents get transferred to them, and the business doesn't feel that there's an ownership over it because legal reviewed it in their absence.
Right, right, exactly. How many clients do you think you have, if you could even say?
Well, so I would say that it really has changed
Okay.
because I came from an organization that had approximately 60,000 employees worldwide. And so I would say I had clients probably at over 100 clients in my previous role. And in my current role, it would be somewhere in the dozens.
Okay. Okay. And so, just because you're in-house, it doesn't mean you don't have to manage having a lot of clients, right?
That's a good point, Chris. I'm
Yeah.
glad you brought that up. Yes, so technically you have one client, which is the company that you're working for, but that can have many different layers. It really depends on the company.
Right.
So as far as a tip for job seekers in looking for the right role, be open to different types of companies to work for and in different industries. At one point, I had a 1 year job search where I interviewed with over 20 different companies in various industries. So I got to meet a lot of different legal departments, and I met some that I thought I didn't feel like that they were really a good fit for me. And it's all about the fit. Um,
Hmm.
but in I at one role that I had, what was really interesting was you had a family client that was the personal business of major uh, executives of the company, but
Hmm.
then you also had company business as well. And those worlds were separate and the agreements were separate. And the considerations were a little bit different. You have to, of course, tailor your risk to your client's appetite for risk. And it was different in different scenarios. But that's just some of that flexibility that you can have in your in-house role.
Flexibility, change, collaboration, and I love your attitude, Liz. And you've been through a lot. You have a lot of experience, and you're just a great person. I love your attitude. Thank you so much for being on the show with us today and sharing with us.
You're so kind, Chris. Thank you so much for inviting